everybody. Welcome to Charger Chat. My name is James.
I'm Brandon.
And we have Jack Eyler here. So to start us off, why don't you tell us what you do for a living?
I'm retired now, but what I did, I was 2 degrees in engineering, and so I was an engineer. I worked so many different places. Started out with the Corps of Engineers, and went to Standard Oil California, now known as Chevron, and I worked for Boeing in aerospace, not airplanes, at that time. I spent most of the time working construction, commercial construction, big buildings, all up and down the West Coast. Then I went into business for myself after 12 years. I became the last job I was executive VP when I left. And then I went into business for myself and had projects, buildings and things in Oregon and in Washington, and part of one in Alaska, part ownership in one in Alaska. So that's a really quick synopsis, but that's what started. It'd be boring to tell you a lot of details about each one.
Like, what were your struggles with being an engineer in construction?
Other than grandkids, the struggles, no, just lots of challenges. In fact, I wouldn't be happy unless I had challenges. I kept moving, not being forced to move anywhere from one to another, because I felt like I was duplicating what I had been doing the last year, the year before that, or whatever, doing a good job, but wanting new challenges. And that's primarily not for money, but for challenges is why I moved to another company, another, et cetera.
So that keeps you going?
Well, now I still have 1 or 2 properties, and 3, and I spend time on them. What keeps me going now? It's a good question. It's a difficult one. I never officially retired. The closest I came to it was when I left the general contractor, went in my own business. Nobody gave me, I could say, a golden parachute or a gold watch or whatever, a pocket watch. These are common things. You work for a bigger company. They have a big to-do. I just sort of walked away. And so I don't have a date. I don't even have a year, because I was still doing things for a long time.
Did you like working independent more, or rather with a company?
Well, when you're your own boss, you can do a lot. Build a hotel over in Silverdale, Washington, and office building, 6-story, big brick office building down in Beaverton, Oregon, and these are things that I was the only one. I was the owner, managing partner, and you name it. So that's the kinds of things I did when I was on my own. So you have to work a lot with banks, financing, and things like that. There's no way to avoid these things as you go up a ladder. You have to become familiar with lawyers, bankers, contractors. Already very familiar with that. Contractors, subcontractors, owners of the property sometimes are co-partners on some of the deals. Okay.
You said you went to college. Which college did you go to?
I started at UW for 1 quarter. You don't know about that. And then I transferred to Seattle University, and I got a bachelor's degree in engineering, Bachelor of Science. And then I went to work for the Corps of Engineers for a year and a half. And I was all over the Northwest with the Corps. They're trying to familiarize engineers, if you want to go in the program, with all the things the Corps does. Like the dikes down in New Orleans that flooded, they didn't hold up. But dam design, I'm not cussing. They were big hydroelectric dams on the Ohio River. I was involved in the design of those. Let's see. Then I went to graduate school at Stanford. I got a Master of Science in engineering. And when I came back, I had to leave absence from the Corps of Engineers. But I decided I would have been further ahead with them, not with anybody else, but with them, to have stayed, not to go to earn a degree, a master's degree at all. So I went to work at Boeing then, and they paid, like 1.5 times as much as I would have if I gone back to the same company. And I was in there. I had secret clearance and so forth. And I worked at that for a while. I didn't like Boeing. Just one little piece of sand on the beach or something, insignificant person. And then I went to Chevron, like I said, and went on from there. But I don't need to go through all that. But since you asked me about colleges,
How many years were you in college?
4, which was, shouldn't do it that way. It's 4 years in engineering was a grind all the time. Terrible grind, but you know, and then Stanford is even more of a grind to do it that fast. It'd be better to have done it in 2 years instead of 1 year at Stanford.
Did you like it at Stanford more? Was it more filling?
No, I didn't particularly like it more. I got to know foreign students. I spent most of my time with foreign students all over the world. And I like it. That's a great institution of learning. But no, I didn't like the coursework. It was very difficult. What was interesting, I'm going to change the subject a little bit, but Stanford, is that in intramural football, basketball, any sport, you could, ex-college players could play. So like people in graduate school that had been starters on major college football programs, Cal and whatever, up and down the coast, the East Coast, and they could get really rough. Basketball, I was the only starter. We had a very good team that hadn't played in college. I was the only one starter. So that's, I'm telling you this just because it's amazing how much ability. And I haven't heard of any other school where that happened, where ex-college players could play intramural afterwards. So that was an interesting part of it. I ended up on our team as a quarterback, but so that was good. I just could tell these ex-college players what to do, where to go. I mean that properly. Yeah, where to go.
Okay, well, we'll be right back. We're going to take a quick commercial break about A1 Burgers. A1 Burgers, the #1 burger shack in the world. Top rated, #1 in the world, A1 Burgers double cheeseburger. And their apple pies, rated #1 in the world.
The apple pies are delicious.
Their fries come from the freshest potatoes in the world. A1 fries are the crispiest golden fries you'll ever try. We're conducting a survey and we're going to ask random strangers to test A1 burgers. We have found a first person. Excuse me, sir.
Hello.
Sir, would you like to try A1 burgers?
Yeah, that looks pretty delicious.
Here, try this.
All right. Wow, this looks nothing like the burger you showed me.
There you have it, folks. A1 Burgers looks nothing like the advertisement. Welcome back, everybody. My name is James.
I'm Brandon.
And back talking to Jack, we wanted to know if you played any sports.
I played all sports, but not at high levels. I played through, later grade school, which would be middle school, and for you, and high school. Playing always. I mean, I played in industrial leagues, again with college players. After college, I played basketball up into my 30s. That's the biggest thing. There's hardly anybody who makes a college game a big college, and let alone go to the pros after that. So it's a great way to maintain communication with customers or owners of properties and so forth. So it's great to be able to play sports, tennis, golf, any of these things. Tennis and golf, you can go into your 80s and still play. So it's one of those sports. You can't play football very well when you're that age, but you can do a lot of sports. So it's good to be able to do those now when you're younger.
Out of all the sports you played, which ones did you enjoy the most?
I think in season. I think nowadays people pick on one sport and play it year round. I don't like that trend. So I loved being quarterback in football. I loved as a forward in basketball. I loved it. And baseball, played baseball. And once I got out of college, played fast pitch. Fast pitch softball is unbelievably hard. You can strike out every major leaguer with a softball pitcher. That's been proven many times. 27 people at bat, 27 strikeouts. It's very difficult. 100 miles an hour from 40 feet instead of 60 feet. It can rise, it can drop, it can go in, go out. You can't get out of the way if it's going to hit you. And anyway, that's a challenging sport. Most games are 1-0, 2-1. You know, that's about high as they ever get. The pitcher's totally in control, and it puts a lot of pressure on one when you're out in the field. And you know, if you made an error, or you stumbled, or you didn't make the exact right play, you might lose 1-0 just because that's how high scoring they are. You're not going to make it up with a bunch of hits. So you get on, you bunt singles, get on first. You wait and wait and wait. Maybe the catcher fumbles it a little. You get to second, and you know, you're not going to get another hit to bring him in. Maybe they get the third on a ground ball to second base, and then maybe a bunt, bring him in. You still have one more out to go, and you win the game 1-0. I mean, it's really exciting, right? There's a lot of pressure on it compared to baseball, because one error by anybody, and we're all human, will lose the game. Can well lose the game. You probably see on television a lot of these women fastball pitchers that are major teams. Unbelievable. Try to hit them. They're really good.
You play tennis. So did you ever play tennis against people better than you, or people that ever went pro?
Oh, I'm still waiting for somebody better than me, but no, I played. I started tennis. I didn't take lessons. I just learned to play at first, and I belonged to several tennis clubs. Central Park Tennis Club in Kirkland, and Bellevue Athletic Club at the time. You got to find a place where you can play indoor, since most of 6 months of the year it's raining most of the time, or drizzly, or wet court.
That's the problem.
And there I played with people that had played previously in college, at tournaments. We had there was a lot of different techniques. There were people, I played one friend I played with him often, who played on tour in Australia. And we had really good matches. He belonged to Mill Creek Tennis Club, so he'd come down to Bellevue. I would go up to Mill Creek, and we would kind of play almost every week. Problem back then, and even now I guess, to get indoor courts in the winter time in Seattle area is difficult. You can only have one on the books. You have to wait till you play. And then you have to name who the next time, sign up for another one, and who you're going to be playing with. Even though it's a week ahead. You don't even know if you don't have anybody yet. But that's the way they are. So we need a lot more indoor courts for Seattle. Right?
Yeah.
You played tennis and golf also, right?
Yes.
Did you ever do anything with golf with anybody big or anybody like that? That's a big name.
I guess I'd say no. When you some of you know. No, some good players.
Yeah.
Some scratch players. That's what's best about golf compared to tennis, is that you can handicap. So you can be a scratch player, so a zero handicap. Even the better players, you have to add strokes to their score. Or you can be a 15 handicap or a 10 handicap, but since you get those strokes, if you're the low man on a totem pole, you can always even it up. Tennis is more difficult. Tennis, when you belong to a tennis club, you can usually you could challenge up 5 spots, and anybody below you 5 spots could. So it's 10 people there at a given club that you could play against in a tournament or in a regular, where you're trying to go up the ladder. So.
Do you have a specific favorite player that still plays
tennis?
Yeah.
Oh, sure, the man from Switzerland, Federer. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I keep hoping he wins more and more, but he's about the best ever now. But the Australians used to be the best. Back when I was younger, Australians usually would win the big tournaments. I'm trying to think. We had Andrew Agassi here, and we had We had some Jimmy Connors and a few really good players. But that reminds me of one thing. Stan Smith was the #1 player in the world for 5 years. Stan Smith was from Southern California, and he was. I tried to tie this together, and so he played all over the world. And he was #1 in the world. His brother, Steve Smith, who I knew well and played with, he went to school in Redlands, California, on a tennis scholarship. So he was the younger brother of Stan. And I said, "Well, how'd you do against your brother the last time?" I said this to Steve. He said, "I beat him. I played with him a number of times. Played with him down in Southern California, and he'd come up here and we tried to play at Mercer Island or whatever, indoors usually, have to. But yeah, I forgot about him when we were talking. So.
After retirement, what was your favorite part? Like, what was your favorite part about retiring?
I didn't retire.
What was your favorite part about not working as much?
Having grandkids.
Visiting, seeing them all the time, or
yeah, favorite part. I wish I played golf a lot when I was a little younger. I wish I'd been better at golf. I went to Scotland 3 weeks. We played a different course every single week. Every single day. The day we arrived in London and the day we went home, there were 2 days we didn't play. And every time we played a different course. So that was good. Every single day in Scotland, it was all in Scotland, you'd have some rain during the round. And there was no riding carts. They did not have power carts. You walked. They're hilly. And I was 64 then. And walk everywhere if you're going to play, you walk. I didn't have a caddy. Someone in the group would have to have a caddy. What's interesting over there, like old St. Andrews, you get up on the tee, you don't even have any idea what direction the hole is. You can't see anything. And the caddy says, see that hump over there? Try to hit over that. And then you hit one, if you're lucky, he says, oh, that was a good shot. And you have no clue to walk up there to find your ball. You might be in one of those big pot bunkers or whatever. So, anyway, that was fun. I have been to Europe 3 times, and different purposes, but not business.
Have you, like, out of all the places in the world, where have you gone, visited?
Oh, just all of Europe, especially Western Europe. When I spent the big bombing last week in Paris, I spent 7 days in Paris. I spent 2 weeks in France. I spent a couple of weeks in Italy. Went all the way you go from southern Italy to northern. You see, and it'd be 100 degrees in southern Italy, southern Spain, a lot of mosques in Spain, southern Spain, because what was going on, invaded, and we had to drive them out over 150 years. But my favorite place, I love Monterey Carmel in the United States. As far as golf courses, they're all different over in Europe. But I played Pebble Beach a number of times. I played Spyglass Hill down there. They're probably up to $500 a round now. I played it when it was a lot less expensive than that. Unbelievable. Played Old St. Andrews, which I did in 2000. It was like $250 to them. That's a lot of money. So, if you want to play here, you do it. I really think Pebble is about $500. Spyglass, play there.
So, which was your favorite place to visit?
See castles and things. I haven't thought about it. I think I like London a lot. Mm-hmm. London itself. You take the subway, go here, go there. There's a great population. When I was going over there, one of the flights was to go to London from Seattle. And as we approached a few hundred miles away, mortars were being shot onto the runway at the big airport. And so we couldn't land there. Sorry, so they turned, made a left turn. Other side of England, they went to Manchester. One time I've ever been to Manchester was that day. It was a Sunday. And they're lobbing mortars on the runway, onto the runway, the terrorists. Um, so now we're here. We got reservations for a week and a half in London, prepay. So what do? Well, we get on the subway. Let's go to Scotland. Yeah. And on Sundays, nothing. They stop at everything. It took forever. Got to Edinburgh. It's dark. No place to stay. Get on a cab. Say, can you recommend any place? You know, breakfast and bed place or something. And finally, we got one, and then get next morning after going to the castle and the palace that are in Edinburgh. Some of that I like that. Then we got to find my way back to London on the following Monday, and then we got there and sorry, we don't have room for you. You weren't here yesterday. We may have prepaid for a week and a half. A big argument. They finally had to find a place. And was above all of the noise and clutter of the bar, and just one floor below us, and et cetera, things like that. But mortars on the runway. I mean, interesting. Which city? I think London of the foreign cities. I was born and raised in Seattle. I gotta like Seattle. You know, so I mean, it was Seattle.
Okay.
Other than that, I lived 4 years altogether in Northern California, Stanford and Palo Alto, and East Bay, which is what's called down there, where the climate's more like Sacramento. But I worked in downtown San Francisco, and long before BART, the Bay Area Rapid Transit System, that didn't exist. You had to make your way over city streets. So.
Very interesting. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break. We're going to tell you about Flirting 101.
Oh my god, I cannot wait for homecoming because I was thinking that we can go to McDonald's and start playing.
Yeah, we're not going on that. I texted you.
Why couldn't you just told me that in person? What's up?
Want to hear a funny joke? No? You don't? Alright, good. April Fools. You're single.
It's October.
No! I just realized that relationships we were fighting for, I'm not ready to give up yet. Okay, now it's time. We're done.
To become one.
Well, in high school, I went to O'Day High School. I took all math and science courses: physics, chemistry, trigonometry, solid geometry, regular geometry, algebra, and then a higher degree of algebra, some calculus. So in high school, I took all these things. So then you look at what are you going to do when you go to college? It's not about a matter of what I loved. Well, the best jobs out there, the ones most in demand, were engineering jobs. So I guess I'll take engineering. I mean, I got a background in math and science. So that's why I started in engineering, not really knowing much about an engineer, what they do, but they get paid well and they have challenging work. And so that's why I got started. So now I'm going to find out what an engineer does when I start in the program. And this is exactly the way, yeah. And so as I went along, it was extremely hard. An awful lot of people drop out. I said the professor would stand there in front of us and say, this is when you start the school. Says over half of you are going to flunk out, are going to drop out. You're not going to be here to get your degree. You'll be in something else. You're not going to make it.
So what made you think you could keep going, or?
I was kind of like Brandon, a little cocky about that. Well, I say I had a lot of math and science, and it was a matter you have to work hard. So at O'Day, I'd have a couple of hours of homework every night. Not, and I had 6 solid subjects. And so, we used to work hard. When I went to college I averaged 19 credits for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that's way too much. But I had ROTC. I got a minor in philosophy. You had to take philosophy. Had 6 courses in theology. ROTC, remember. all of these things added on top of all the engineering subjects, the math and the science. And you have to take electrical engineering courses, mechanical engineering like fluid mechanics. You have to take all fields, but by the senior year, you're mostly taking civil engineering or structural engineering. You're designing bridges, dams, big buildings, those kinds of things. And so what may do it? Nothing. Probably if I the glass half full or half empty. It was a challenge all the time. So about going to Stanford, so I was going to want to go to. I hadn't been living in California at that time. I'll just see. I'll pick Cal, Berkeley, and Stanford, and I'll try to get in both of those schools, because it'll be sunny all winter. And I was accepted at both of those. And a friend of mine was in chemical engineering. He's a graduate. He was going to go. He said, "Oh, I got to go to Cal." He had good grades, very good grades, because it's a good chemical engineering program, whereas Stanford at that time did not have a good chemical engineering. So it turned out he didn't get in. I did. That doesn't make me brighter than him. Just meant supply and demand, how many people apply, et cetera. He ended up going to Columbia, getting his master's at Columbia in New York. Got in a very fine school. But that's how I got to Stanford. Later on, when I was transferred to the Bay Area, I wish I'd gone back east somewhere, just for variety. Go to a different school. Not necessarily Columbia, but Notre Dame would have been my first choice. Not the weather, but you can see how California would look compared to going back in the freezing weather in Indiana. But anyway, that would have been my choice.
Or out of your friends, any of them have an impact you or change your decisions about something?
Well, only the one that was chemical engineer that he and I were going to go together.
Uh-huh.
When I got to Stanford, I drove down there and walked in, and I'm here. Well, I was kind of late because I'm not at the very end of, and I said, and I had a room on campus for graduate engineers and scientists. And I said, well, two per room. I said, have you picked my roommate yet? Yes. I said, oh, where's he from? Ethiopia. I can hit. Okay, where's Ethiopia? I know it's Africa. Okay. Sir, if you don't like, this is pretty much, so if you don't like, if you'd like to have a different roommate or a different room, we can make that happen. No, it's great. So, I had this individual pipe smoking. You could smoke then, he did. A black person from Saudi. His dad had been Secretary of State, killed by the Italians when they invaded Ethiopia. He was a great roommate. This is before Martin Luther King ever did anything, 1963 or whatever. This was in 58, 59. And that was a fantastic experience. And that's how I got to really hang around more with foreign students than any of the, from this country. But our teams were mostly people from this country. Football, basketball, baseball. So.
You sounded like you were really busy. When did you have time to start a family?
Oh, well, I waited till I got married to start with. We got married in. I met Shirley when we were 61, but November 25th, 61. So it was almost 62. And that's within a year. I was transferred to San Francisco, and she went as well. But our first child was born in 65, September 65. And then we have 4 more, so we have 5 children. We had 2 miscarriages along the way, we had 7. And we have 3 girls and 2 boys. And 3 of them went through college. The others, they chose to go a different path. Our oldest son started at the University of Washington. He wanted to be in computer science. But he goes there and they don't touch it. He said, well, they don't even give you any computer science courses when you're in the first year. I want to just do computer science. Well, heck with this, he said. So anyway, so he regrets that, of course.
Is there something you feel like you still want to do in your life?
Besides live for a few more years. Well, for about until I got to be 78, almost 80, I could beat all of the family in ping pong. Brandon can, but now kind of, I think there's a couple ones that played more than me. I'd like to get back to winning at ping pong.
So you said in college you like sports and everything. Did you have a specific favorite football team? Because there's an Apple Cup coming up, and I wanted to know who you wanted to vote for to win.
Oh, well, I want Washington State to win because they deserve it. I want to have 9-3 record, whatever, go to a big bowl, possibly to the Rose Bowl. If the UW was even, then the game mattered to either one. I picked the UW. When UW plays against Stanford, I have a hard time. If it means something to Stanford, that's good. If it means something to UW, I'll root for them. So I'm really torn between them.
Yeah. So
why have a team that's going to a big bowl and have them lose to UW when UW wasn't going anywhere? So that's how to develop who I'm rooting for. It's only those three teams that Washington State, and Stanford, that I have trouble sometimes deciding who I'd like to see win.
Who do you want to win?
I don't really care.
I hope the Cougars win. All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today. My name is James.
I'm Brandon.
And
I'm
thank you
Jack.
for watching.